Hey everyone, it's Hannah Fletcher with MUSE, and I am so excited to be speaking with Giulia. First of all, I love your top. How are you feeling? And happy Thursday.
I'm feeling amazing, grateful for another day. What about you?
I'm doing well, actually. I woke up early this morning. I was watching some Housewives because I have to do some work on it later. So, what better way to wake up in the morning, 7 a.m. and just have the Housewives reunion going back and forth. It's definitely,
Amen.
it's wild. Well, I just want to say congratulations on all of your success. I'm so excited to be speaking with you. I have a ton of questions. Basically, I would like to get started and ask you, how did your journey into content creation begin? How did this originate for you? And was this always a part of your life plan or goals that you had for yourself? Or was this kind of something that you ended up happily stumbling into?
So since I had a device that could record any type of video, I've always been producing content from a beauty account on Instagram where I would put these videos together and fully edit them at the age of, I don't know, maybe 13, to having video YouTube channels dedicated to taking care of fake baby dolls. I've always been creating content, but since a young age, like that wasn't a thing that people could do for a job. There was no way to monetize it or that we knew of. And so, yeah, I've always been creating content. I never realized it could be something that was like a passion or that I could, monetize until TikTok came around. And I was a dancer my whole life. So I was just posting little TikTok dances and whatnot. And then it just kind of took off. And from there, I realized, like, hey, I can make this into a career. And yeah, so it definitely wasn't, I don't want to say the intent was there to do this forever, but I feel like I was definitely made for it.
I love that. I completely agree. I do feel like you were made for it. What I love is I love the fact that you mentioned that you were part of that whole YouTube culture when you were younger. I made so many videos there on private. It was like back when the webcams were like, what? I mean,
Mm.
you're using webcams, right? Like that says enough. Um, but that whole culture back then was such an interesting era. Where did you find your inspiration to be able to want to create and to be able to document it that way, would you say?
Honestly, I think I kind of just always loved capturing things and like making it my way, so to speak.
Mhm.
I don't think there's one thing that really like inspired me to do it. It's just I feel like always something that I had like a earning for just like inside me, I guess.
Mhm. I love that. You also claim to have a lot of side hustles. And what I love about you is when I watch your content, your determination and your motivation comes through. And also remind me, you're 21, right? You're very, yeah, which is amazing. I love the fact that you are so young and that you have so much in you. And again, it comes through when I watch your content. One side hustle that I want to talk to you about is the fact that you are certified with real estate. You're good to go. Like you pursue real estate, which I think is incredible. Talk to me about this. And do you see this coming into your content anytime soon in more of like an in-depth, maybe like a series or something like that?
Yeah, so I've been doing real estate for about, I would say, a year now. I originally got into it because my mom's a real estate agent in Florida and in Michigan, which is where I live. But then also that show came out, Selling Sunset. Everyone was like obsessed wanting to do real estate. So both of those two things combined kind of like got me into it. It took me forever to like do the class because I procrastinated. But yeah, now I'm, selling real estate. It's something I do on the side. I do here and there make videos about it, and I definitely want to start making more. I made one a few days ago. Every time I make a video about it, people always ask questions. It always does well. Like everyone wants to know. So yeah, I definitely see it becoming a series would definitely be really cool. I have been thinking about something like that, but there definitely will be more real estate content in the future.
I love that. Well, and I'm also a huge, huge fan of Selling Sunset. Hot take, if you were given the opportunity to join the cast of Selling Sunset, do you foresee yourself as ever wanting to go down an avenue like that? Would you ever go into a show like that or that show in general?
I totally would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't, right? I would too. It'd be so much fun. I love that show. I think that those women are they're tough, they're fierce, but they're definitely, if you can survive among those women, you can survive anywhere, in my opinion. I love that so much. I think that's really great too, that you have your mom as kind of like a mentor figure, and the fact that you're able to create the content and to be able to kind of like open up about that journey. I think it's
Mhm.
inspiring. And again, for being such a young woman, I think that that's really great as well, because you have so much time ahead of you to be able to really explore that medium of real estate and to be able to continue to educate your audience. And I love that so, so much. Where do you foresee your content going within the next several years if you had to just like, take a swing, kind of like any type of goals that you would have for yourself? Where would you like to see your content and your career going within the next several years?
So I'm definitely on a path right now pursuing more fashion beauty content, like
Mhm.
higher quality, and really diving into that. And so aside from that, because I'm kind of already on that path, I've randomly fallen in love with more of like a cinematic feel
Mhm.
to videos. And so I've been trying to embody that a lot in on my YouTube channel. And I've been getting into more like film, different film cameras and stuff like that. So I definitely want to take it up a notch regarding quality and also just experiment with different kind of types of um, content.
I love that. Are there any type of creators, or kind of like you mentioned, you're kind of looking into more of that cinematic vibe, which I think is really great. And I've noticed like I've started to come across TikToks like that myself, and it just like reels me in, and I'm like so close to my phone, like oddly close. Because it's so enamoring and it's so interesting to watch. Is there anybody in particular that you look to, or anybody's maybe like format or anything like that that inspire your content creation and that keep you going?
I would say Emma Chamberlain definitely was the first one that got me into more of like the cinematic videos because I found myself like so in awe of her videos, and all it was just like a shot of like the just scenery, just like people walking, and I was just like I love watching this. I fell in love with it. I would say another person I look up to regarding like content style is definitely my family on YouTube. She does a really good job of like personality, but also a little bit of a cinematic feel and like telling story too. So those are definitely two YouTubers that I like love watching.
I love that. Also, Emma Chamberlain, I remember I was sitting in my apartment all throughout my college experience. Almost every single day, I would watch some piece of content of hers. I think she is so brilliant in the way that she does things, the way that she presents herself. She's really, I feel like she's moved the needle in terms of like really showing what it's like to authentically be oneself. And I think that she's a huge pioneer as to why we're so now enthralled with authenticity and removing the filter, literally, metaphorically, and so on. How are you looking to prevent burnout? Do you prevent burnout? Are you ever burned out? Are you picking up the camera when you feel like you are only inspired? What does your process look like? And what piece of advice would you give to those that may be looking to create content, but maybe, are apprehensive? Maybe they're afraid that they only have an idea to a certain extent and then they're going to burn out. What does all of this look like to you?
So in my opinion, burnout is inevitable. I think it's all about how you go about it when you do feel burnt out instead of, because everyone gets burnt out. Everyone has days, everyone has moments where they're not feeling their best, 10 out of 10. But I definitely do think instead of just sitting there and moping around and like really like letting yourself be like engulfed in the feeling of burnout, it's so important to stay inspired. And you can't just like content, film. Like going out and experiencing new things or trying new things off camera is definitely a way that I can get through a burnout and become more inspired to film content. Yeah, I think if you get too stuck of the idea of like, oh, I'm so scared, or there's a fear of burnout, like it's gonna happen. Everyone's gonna get burnt out, whether it's like once a month or if it happens once a year. But it's definitely just about how you move through that and just keeping a positive mindset and just knowing that is gonna happen. And then when it does happen, just keeping a positive mindset, going out, experiencing things so that you can find inspiration again.
I love that answer. I think that that's incredibly realistic, because
Mm-hmm.
people say, oh, well, then, take a month off. And it's like, well, you can, but also at the same time, you run that risk, especially if you've like recently hit and you're recently starting to really gain a lot of followers. I feel like that could be very tricky because you don't want to lose that traction that you're really riding the wave and trying to build on, but at the same time, you also want to preserve the integrity of your mental health. So I like that. I like the idea of staying inspired, staying positive, and okay, well, if today's not going to be a content day, then how can I repurpose this day to where it's still fun, but I'm not necessarily burning the candle at both ends?
Exactly.
What would be your piece of advice to people who are looking to create content, may not know where to start, maybe afraid of burnout? What would be your piece of advice to people like that?
I would say you just have to do it. I think most people will never really, they have all these dreams and ambitions. And really, I mean, the only thing that's stopping you is your own self and your mind. And I know that it's so simple to just say that, but if you really take a moment to think about that, like you have a phone, like if you have a phone and you have the app TikTok, there's nothing physically preventing you from filming a video. And so I think you just have to do it, and you just have to, you find your own way. Everyone is so different. And I think that's something that like oneself has, is that there's only one of you, and so everyone has their little quirks and different things about them. And so just really making content that feels authentic, or pulling inspiration from different people, but like putting a twist on it and making your own, is something that I do and I love to do, because it's so hard to just always think of like completely original ideas. I mean, there's so many people in the social media space. So just finding different trends, putting your own spin on them, and just going for it, honestly.
Great answer. And I think that, again, even in my opinion, I think that you're spot on with all of that. It's like you said, you don't have anything that's really hindering you other than yourself. So pick up the camera, give it a shot, see what sticks. And I feel like if you find what works, it may or may not be a happy accident, and then ride the wave if the wave comes in.
Mhm.
First of all, I want to say congratulations with signing with Viral Nation. What was it like knowing that you had this opportunity to gain support of a team and to be able to work with Viral Nation? Take me back to that moment in time and tell me what's it been like ever since.
Well, I remember the first phone call when I first met my team, and they kind of explained, like, what they were going to do. And I was talking to some other teams and just like, sorry, seeing like where I could fit. And I think the biggest difference between Viral Nation and the team that we've created and anyone else is that they focus on building a brand, and like, instead of just, getting little brand deals and not really focusing on branding, they were like, hey, where do you want to go? What is your dream? And then they literally took me there. And it wasn't even 2 weeks ago where I was at New York Fashion Week and I got the phone call that my dream brand deal, when they first asked me, like, oh, what's your dream brand to work with? Like, I literally got the deal and it's been filmed. And that was like the most exciting thing ever. So it's honestly a dream come true. And I couldn't imagine a better team backing me, because, yeah, they're just amazing. I love them.
That's incredible. Obviously, no spoilers, but I'm really excited. Everybody stay tuned with everything involving that. That'll be coming out. I'm very excited to see what that looks like. Also, before we go, how was Fashion Week? I feel like a lot of people, I always see it online. I've never had the luxury of being able to attend. But I love the vlogs that go up. I love the documentation that people do provide. What was it like for you? What was any details that you can share? I'd love to hear about your experience of Fashion Week.
I think it's the most like life-changing experience. It's so cool to be brought into like the fashion space when you come from such a different space.
Mhm.
Um, the thing is, it goes like so quick, and it's just so like I've been in Ubers, like putting on makeup, outfit changing. It gets crazy. It definitely gets crazy, but I'm so grateful that I'm able to go. It truly is like an insane, like very out of body experience to be like sitting front row at a fashion show for a brand that you like can barely even like afford, and you're watching like you're like the first set of eyes that gets to see this new collection, like regarding to the public. So it's definitely really cool.
That's really neat. Did you go the route of having a stylist or anything like that, or did you kind of take it upon yourself to be like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to approach it. I'm going to style myself, choose this, choose that. What was your approach with that?
So the shows that I attended in this February's Fashion Week, I did have stylists.
Nice.
Yeah, so the brands kind of like sent me some options to choose from, and so they dressed me, and I got to go in person for one, which is also like a really cool experience too, because I love my style, but it's also awesome to see someone else's take on what they think I would look good in and would fit me too.
Definitely. I feel like it opens up somebody's perspective so much. That's why I like watching all that content, because
Mhm.
I'm like, this makes me want to dabble a little bit. It makes me want to
Yeah.
step out. Well, I want to say you are so wonderful. I love your energy. Thank you so much for speaking with us, and congratulations with all of your success. You have so much more to come. I'm so excited to continue to follow you on your journey, and thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was so nice talking with you and meeting you.
Likewise, we'll keep in touch, and everybody stay tuned. If you would like to go ahead and plug any social accounts right now where people can follow you, go for it.
All right, Instagram is Giulia, Giulia, because everyone gets it wrong, G Amato. TikTok is No Beef Only Chicken. That story is for another time, but that's the username. And YouTube is the same as Instagram, Giulia G Amato. Mwah.
I love that so much. I never realized that that was your handle because I follow you on TikTok and I just searched your name. I'm okay. I love that. Thank you again so much for speaking with us, and everybody make sure to go follow and stay attuned with everything that's going on with Giulia.